Hey guys, welcome back. I'm here with Jeremy, and we're going to go through a tier list of dance arcade cabinets, and we're going to rank them from S to crap. If you're into the stuff that I talk about on my channel, then you'll definitely like Jeremy's channel, so go check it out. Link in the description.
Hi, I'm Jeremy, or Beremy, as the YouTube title says. And I just make video essays and stupid dance game videos.
This tier list is going to be on dance arcade cabs, and the idea behind it is that imagine if somebody had all of the game cabs that are on this list for sale on Craigslist, and they were all the same price. How would you rank them if you wanted to own one of these or not own one of these? Sound good, Jeremy?
Sounds great.
Before we get started, I have an ITG2 Dedicab, and I also have DDR Gen 1 pads, and I have a homemade dance pad. So, Jeremy, what do you have?
I have a Dedicab. I think it's a Roxor cab, but I actually don't know the difference.
All right, because we love the Dedicab. All right, let's just put it out there. So we're gonna start with our favorite game, Dance Dance Revolution,
Classic.
and you can't talk about Dance Dance Revolution without this first cabinet, the Gen 1 DDR cab, and we're lumping together Japanese and Korean versions of this cab and a couple other variants into just like everything from first mix to eighth mix.
I mean, it's a little unfair because technically speaking, not too well actually. The third mix uses different hardware from then on versus the first and second mix. And actually, most of the upgrade cabs were third mix cabs in America, because that was like the minimum one you could upgrade to like Max 2 or Extreme or something like that. But I think it's fine if we if we just keep it all lumped together.
What a nerd. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna assume that they're all one. So you got yourself a J cab or a K cab, one or the other, and where would you rank this on the board? With S being the absolute max, and then crap being like wouldn't even want it to grace your house.
So okay, so the good thing about this is it can run Extreme Pro, right? So that at least puts you B or above, in my opinion.
Very fair. I might argue that it should go in A tier just because it's a classic, and I'd love to I love the stages in DDR, but I could also see it being a B tier too. So I'm like right in the middle kind of.
I agree with you. A tier, like it's a classic. All the classic mixes, Max 300s on it. That's really the only song you need. So I agree. A tier is good.
Okay. You know
Feeling
what?
you.
Okay, I'm going back to B. I'm going back to B.
Going back to B.
I'm sorry. I'm going back to B because I
Did
know
I
some of these other
dissuade you?
where there's other DDR cabs that are coming up and they are better. And wait, what happened? Oh no! I lost my headphones. I lost their charge
Are they not
because
plugged in?
they don't. They're wireless, only wireless. They can't be.
But there's a
They are.
there's
They're
a
plugged. Okay,
there's a
they're
wire.
not wi- It's complicated. So let's talk about the Gen 2 Japanese one. Okay.
Okay.
So this cabinet is the Generation 2 DDR cab. So this one is it was in Japan only. It has these giant like plexiglass light spires on the side, a huge flat screen monitor, black bars. Now I've never used one of these before, but it looks absolutely sick. I'm thinking it goes in like the A tier.
The A tier. I was probably, I could agree with A or B. It's not an S. I think I actually played on one of these. I can't remember. But there is like a small, pretty famous if you're into like the retro arcade scene, in DeKalb, Illinois, which is near where I live, that had one of these cabs, or they might actually still have it. And I think it's one of the only ones in America. It actually plays pretty good. I had a good time playing with it. The spires are cool.
Do they go to the music or is it just random?
I can't remember, honestly.
Okay, unmemorable. We're putting it in B tier. Let's talk about the American version of that same one, which is the Raw Thrills Generation 2 cabinet. Now
No.
this is a giant piece of shit, and I hate everything about this thing because I have used this one a lot, and it sucked. It's like it was never a good experience.
It's flimsy. It feels like shit. It looks like shit too. Like it is not a good dance game machine.
Now this is the one that has the metal plate over the corner brackets. Is that right? So it's kind of like there's a uniform sheet metal piece over the pad.
Yeah, it's really awkward and like it doesn't feel good. And I don't know because in the screen it has like those things that are supposed to prevent the tilt on the pad, but the pads are so light and flimsy that like sometimes if you're doing a jump but you're like really leaning back, the pad actually lifts off the floor and slams back down. Um,
Jeez.
it's awful.
So
So
I'm just gonna throw this out there as a line in the sand. I'm gonna say D tier.
okay, we might have to move that to craft tier, but you know we'll see how it goes.
Somewhere in between here. We'll see. So next, we're gonna go back a generation and we're gonna talk about DDR red cabs. My understanding, I've used these maybe a couple times here or there. I don't think I knew I was using one at the time, but
Hmm.
they are very similar to Gen 1 cabs, but they have a better monitor. That's kind of the gist of them. And they have EMU's card readers, I think, most of the time.
Okay.
It's kind of like an upgrade to a Gen 1 cab in like every way. Still has neons,
Hmm.
big flat screen CRT, so there's no lag or anything like that. So personally, I think this one is like a solid A.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so we're just adding this one on the fly. We forgot about it. This is the Betson Supernova cabinet. I think might be considered like the American version of the red cab, but that might not be super true.
I remember playing on a couple of these. Those these are pretty decent.
This is a good cab for sure. So it's similar to the Gen 1, except for it has a flat screen and the marquee is flat. So that's kind of how you can tell it's different.
Yeah.
So I don't think this is as cool as the red cab though. So I'm gonna say this is a B as well.
Yeah. Like
Now look, if I was a DDR player, this would be this might go in the A tier because this cabinet can play like A20 because it has the hardware for it,
okay.
but the Gen 1 can't. But I'm not a DDR player, so I'm sticking it in the B tier.
It's straight to B tier.
So now there's two more older DDR cabs we got to talk about. There is the Crap-o-cab. We got to talk about the Crap-o-cab.
The fucking Crap-o-cab.
I don't understand all of it, but there's some sort of scam involved here. But the gist of it is that this company, Namco, made DDR cabinets. Somebody contracted them to do it, I guess, and they're just absolute shit. And you could tell that there's a Crap-o-cab right away because the panels are this like solid blue or red with a white outline, and it just looks terrible, and it behaves terrible. And underneath the panels, where you'd expect to find like a cavity and sensors and all the metal and stuff, is
Yeah.
a wood frame with
Yeah.
an arcade button from a fight stick or something, just like a normal button, and you push down on that
Push the
button.
button down.
It is insane that they thought this was gonna work or be good.
Well, that was one of like the legendary forum posts is when someone like found one of these and like took it apart and it was like a whole goddamned adventure.
This was like this whole arcade machine is like a troll. And I honestly, I'd love to have a Crap-o-cab. Like a mint Crap-o-cab would be amazing, Tom.
Because that's the thing is like functionally it should go into the crap tier, but like it's so bad it might actually loop around to being good and decent.
Because it's just so funny, I would save it from the crap tier, and I might say put it in D. What do you
I'm
think?
I'm thinking D or C because it's so bad it's good.
So the last of the older cabinets is Solo. Remember Solo?
Love a solo cab. These cabs are so much fun.
Honestly, the game is fun. The two extra buttons adds a lot, I think.
Yeah, it definitely does. The only shame is that there's not a newer solo.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And there was two versions of this. There was like the normal Solo, and then I guess you could get an upgrade kit that added the bar. There was no bar on normal Solo,
Oh,
and in like the frame around the bar, which you can see here going along the edge, has lights in it. So there's lights that come out of the side of the
oh,
the upgraded bar. It's pretty cool. I'm gonna say we should put this in C tier.
I'm thinking it. Yeah, if there was more support and like more charts out there, I'd probably bump it up to B.
And I think the bar is pretty whacked. So that leaves two DDR machines left, and we're gonna go with the classic, the white cab. So this is the DDR white cab. It has these pink and blue bars. I fell out of love with DDR when this cab came out. I just didn't really not I don't think because of this cab. I just think I didn't really like DDR that much anymore.
Yeah,
But my
same.
impression of this was I was always like, oh my god, these bars feel so small and tiny and like it feels weird.
It's super aesthetic, but like, yeah, it's I don't know, I'm too tall for them, and like I feel weird like leaning back that much. In addition to like, I really just don't like Ace. I know this is a hot take, so to speak, but I just don't like DDR Ace or A20 or whatever it's on right now. So then I'm stuck because I know this is actually a really good cab for the DDR players.
Sure. Yeah. Well, if you disagree with Jeremy, please tell us in the comments why. So I'm gonna say, this is like, if you are into DDR, this is really great. I mean, when it comes to ranking these amongst the other pads, I would totally like to own one of these, and I would rank it really up here with the red cab. That's the way I see it. What do you think?
Uh, if I'm going to be fair, yeah, honestly, I'd probably place it in like C. Even if it is the same price, I would much rather
At the
have like
same
an I'd rather have a first gen like extreme OG mix than an A20 cab.
Let's say you had the Japanese X with the spires. Okay,
Okay.
would you really rather have? You think the white cab's still a tier below?
It's definitely the same tier as the Japanese cab with the spires. So okay, maybe C is a little harsh, but I really can't say how much I just don't like 820.
You're gonna get a lot of audience interaction here. Now, we have what I think is the funniest DDR cab, the gold A20 cab. This is essentially a white cabinet, but from what I heard, it's kind of like actually more based on like the what's that other game?
Dance Rush.
Dance Rush. It's based on like a Dance Rush cabinet design. So similar monitor. So it's kind of like they took Dance Rush and they're like, all right, we have this thing. Let's just make it gold and make it the new version of DDR.
Reduce operational costs.
That's my understanding of it.
Uh-huh.
And it from what everyone told me, I've never played on one, is that people like it. It's a good cab. There are problems here or there, but the whole thing is gold. The pads are gold. The cabinet's gold, but the gold wears off. It's like a coating, an anodized finish. So it's like turning silver over time. So yeah, it's gonna look like shit when it gets to like private owners and stuff. So where does this fit in?
Like that's the problem is like it's so gaudy looking that I really love it. Like it loops back around to being really fucking cool to me. I would rather have that than the white cab, TBH. Like imagine like you have your house, right, and like you have guests over and you're like, you try to impress your guests, and then you're like, look at this opulence, I have a solid gold fucking DDR machine.
Right, yeah, exactly. It's something you'd see in like Trump Tower or something, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But I would, yeah, I'd say A. What do you think?
I'm into it.
Just as an aside, I can't wait for the first private owner of a gold cab, which I don't think we've found yet. But then the first private owner that converts it to Stepmania. Oh my god.
That would be good. That would be
what
the
a video that would be. Jesus. All right, so that ends it for DDR. All right, so we're going to change games and we're going to talk about Pump It Up. Pump It Up is really like, I'm the worst versed person in Pump It Up. I know a little bit. I can do like a 13 single or something like that. I haven't played it a ton. So if I screw up these cabinet names and stuff, just light me up in the comments. But sorry.
Blast them.
So let's start with Pump It Up SD. This is before GX, so it's got a tiny CRT. I really don't know a ton about this, but I'll tell you this: I don't really want to own one.
Me either. I've actually played on these. It's kind of wonky.
Actually, this one is the one that's like a clone of DDR. It's like it looks exactly like a Gen 1 DDR cab except for the bars.
Yeah.
See the marquee? The marquee looks exactly the same.
It does. I feel like this is when like Konami was trying to sue Pump It Up, which I could totally see why.
Do we give it style points for copying a tried and true, or do we take the points away?
I like the gumption of it.
You got balls, kiddo.
Ambitious, yeah. You got balls, kiddo. I like that.
Yeah. All right, so I think you deserve a spot in the C tier because you ripped off Konami. So the next one, Pump It Up SX. So I don't know if this one came before or after, but this one has the one subwoofer down the middle, which I think is the start of something just tragic for Pump It Up. I hate this, like, everything is in the middle style of a cabinet. I really don't like it.
Uh-huh.
I think that's just such a weird way to build a cab. I hate this thing.
I've never seen this thing in my life, but it looks pretty bad.
I think I want to own a Crap-o-cab more than I want to own this. This might be our first crap.
I think this is the first crap. Honestly, the raw thrills might deserve a crap too. Now
You
that I'm
think
thinking
so?
about, yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, because like for me, it's no question that I would rather have like the Namco cab versus either of those two cabs.
It's a little ironic that we didn't put the Crap-o-cab in the crap tier.
It's because it's so bad it becomes a novelty. Because that's the thing. No one's gonna be like, "Oh, you got one of the bad raw thrill crabs," like, whatever. But they're gonna be like, "Oh, you got the one that's just like arcade joystick buttons in it. Oh, that's so cool. Open it up and show me."
Look at the difference between the Japanese and English version. No, son, we have DDR at home.
We have
DDR
DDR
at
in
home.
America.
All right, so next pump it up that we're gonna talk about is, you know it, you love it, the DX. This is the bad boy with the giant projection CRT, which you couldn't even read because it's so dim.
It's like way the fuck back in the cabinet too.
It
Like,
looks like a giant cyclops or something. This is just a terrible looking cab. I really I hate it.
yeah, like the only thing you get is like this came out like what, probably like in the early 2000s, late 90s, like back when like something that's really huge, like that was cool just because it's so fucking big.
Yeah, I think this is a D for me.
This is a D. Yeah, absolutely.
Now we're gonna talk about something that's really good. It's your boy GX. All right, so there's two versions of these, GX and GX2. I forget the differences between them, but let's just say we're talking about the one that, let's be frank here. It's a Dedicab.
Yeah.
It's a Dedicab with some up pads, but it's still a Dedicab. This cabinet is just like, oh, it's just beautiful. It's got the two base modules. They look awesome. It's got neons. It's compatible with Dedicab parts. What more can you ask for? The monitor is sick as long as it works, which probably doesn't, but
I'm assuming in this hypothetical, like it's all functional, right?
yes, it'll work for a year. The one weird thing about this that separates it from the Dedicab is really where the lights are placed on the marquee.
Honestly, this one is probably gonna go to S tier for me. A or S.
I think I gotta reserve S for something. I gotta put this in A. This is really up there. This is really the Dedicab experience of Pump It Up.
Like this Dedicab, Pump It Up Dedicab is like the only machine in this list that I'm like actually looking to buy right now in my life. Like the actual like Dedicab part, I'm just gonna have that for like spare parts for my Dedicab, and then I'm just gonna have the pad there because I think Mute did this, where you just could slide the fucking Dedicab over to the pump pads and plug them in, and then just do the pump version of Simply Love, and that is so like awesome to me.
I don't even want to talk about this one, Jeremy. To be honest, this one it's physically makes me sick. It's the FX cab. The one good thing about this cabinet is it's small, it's portable. If you have an apartment or a small house, it's a little tiny thing. It's like a karaoke machine. Bring it in, wheel it in, play some dance games in your house. But it looks terrible. It's like something out of Halo. Like, what were they thinking when they designed this? I hate this. Like, it reminds me of that the older Pump It Up we talked about with the one base in the middle.
Yeah.
It's like they just want to isolate everything in the middle and then just put a ginormous monitor that just sticks out of the sides.
It's I mean like the pad quality and all that stuff is like fine. Is this the one that what was it called? Pump It Up Pro, like that weird ITG Pump It Up mix? Is that
Yeah.
the cab that this thing came on?
It
Yeah.
might have been. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Because the other bad thing about this one is like this was the transition from standard definition to high definition in like Pump It Up, like the arcade as well. So like everything wasn't the correct aspect ratio, so it was like really stretched when you played it.
I'd like to take it out back behind the barn and shoot it.
Yeah, throw it away.
I think this one goes in D just because it's just so bad designed.
Yeah.
So we're gonna merge two cabinets together. I think it's the CX and the TX. So the CX is a similar version of this cab. It's a smaller one, but it's kind of the same generation. It's just a little bit tinier. I think this is a great looking cab. They did a really good job with the LEDs. It's got a beautiful screen, and I like the proportions. It's just a total step away from the FX that we just talked about.
Yeah, it's a good design. I really like this. Also, it has those cool like they're not countersunk, but like the pads like they're full panels and they have like holes in them.
Yeah, bracketless.
Yeah, the bracketless. I really like that design. I always have fun when I play on these ones. By this time in like cabinet history, they've kind of figured out how to make an HD dance game.
I'm gonna go with B if that's all right.
That's fine.
All right. So the next one is it is an LX, which is just like poof. Oh my God. What a absolutely sexy looking cabinet. I mean I played on these a couple, probably 10 times or so, and just I'm always blown away at how good of a job they did on the actual cabinet part of this. It's just an awesome design. It's a big wide cabinet, and I love everything about the way this is
Yeah,
designed.
functionally, I think they're pretty similar, but the white on this one's really good looking. And who is it? Happy Feet.
Happy Feet
Uh,
has one. Yeah.
they did like the powder coating to white on like the bars, and it looks like really fucking cool. It's super aesthetic. Yeah, I like this one. This one's definitely an A tier.
I think it's a solid A. Yeah. All right. So we got our last Pump It Up machine that we have here, which is Pump It Up Jump. Which I've never actually used one of these before, but it looks like a kids game. Pump It Up. Is that right?
Yeah, it's like scaled down to children's size, I guess.
Question is, would I want one of these more than a Crap-o-cab?
For me, I'm throwing this in crap tier, personally. And
Yeah.
the reason being is like I started playing dance games when I was like in what, like second or third grade. Like I'm already a fucking child at that point. There's no reason to make a smaller dance game if I was able to do the normal dance games fine at such a young age.
Right.
So
Right.
like this thing's just offensive to children. Like this is made by someone who think that children like are just stupid walking babies.
All right. So that's the end of Pump It Up. I'm gonna go grab another beer real quick. All right.
I'm gonna go pee.
Hey, this is Dominic from the future. We decided to break this video up into two parts. To see the second part where we talk about Stepmania X, ITG, and a bunch of other cabs, head over to Jeremy's channel or click the link in the description to see part 2.